Je ne parle pas français. Triumph of the human spirit over societal failure brought on by consumerism and rapid technological advancement. I don't know how much more abstract we can get, really. I mean, I've never felt so deeply contented. It was a resort. It was all so fake, and we love it. Fake, fabricated wealth. It's why we drink champagne and go to country clubs. It's why people get excited about visiting Las Vegas. I mean, we're not wealthy, and we've got a bourgeoisie attitude about it. The middle class, especially, I think. That's why class action is a good idea with no substance whatsoever. The only class that can actively work together is the upper class, because it's just great at consolidating its own power and maintaining its own interests. But the middle class is just divided against itself. And the only social mobility there is in the middle class, and it just moves within itself. It's miserable. And suburbia is naturally what you think of. Suburbia and Starbucks in one hand, iPhone in the other. Shopping at a Walmart. Is stealing from Walmart really stealing? Or is it a form of reclamation and redemption? I wouldn't arrest someone for stealing from a Walmart. I mean, I guess morals are subjective, but Walmart wouldn't feel a thing. I wonder how the founder of Walmart feels right now. I mean, if morality is subjective, then there is no universal law that decides how we act, that says that behaving this way is the right way to behave. So literally any mode of behavior is technically acceptable, but I think how we decide whether or not it's acceptable is based off of how efficiently it allows society to run. Like cursing isn't offensive, the sentiment is offensive, and the sentiment implies anger, and anger implies causing someone pain. Even hedonism preaches high moral obligation. We can't exist happily with fear, loathing, and sans stability. So society depends on this sort of repression of basal urges, and anger and sex urges especially. But sex urges always find a way out. I don't think they should be repressed, and people just get hit. They don't even know what hit them, but it was... God. I don't repress any urges. And I feel sometimes like a non-member of society, like a bit of a pariah, a weird eccentric. But that doesn't mean I act upon them. I actively acknowledge them, and I think about things a lot. But for the sake of others, I don't act. I just honestly wish he would melt and go tender at the sight of me as I do for him. Whenever I talk to him, it is with a question in my eyes and fear in my heart. And reminds me about the futility of it all. And really, you should love yourself, and after having a bad day, you should go home and burn your skin off in the shower. You'll be surprised if you scrub hard enough how much of it will come off. It feels like washing away misery. Dirt. But it feels futile, and if I had to allocate a taste to my life, it'd be black coffee. The kind that's been sitting in the pot since yesterday, but they shut off your water, so, that's all you've got? I've had so much of it that my heart is racing and I'm floating an inch off the ground, but I swear my head is up higher. I look a bit cracked out, I guess, and I function like a psychopath, but today I came out on top. In whatever way you can come out on top. Can't really come out on top, right? Money makes money, and if you've got none, you're stuck. But sometimes it's better to suffer than to die. Death is the cure for everything, but that you're the universe experiencing yourself, is what I tell people when they mention suicide to me, and then I direct them to an article on hedonism. The client feels that the efforts he or she has been making are not proving up to the task at hand. He or she feels that others are not made to work as hard as they are, and consequently this individual desires more recognition and emotional security. The best method of entry relief is to provide emotional relief through discourse and the mocking of others. A dynamic emotional response system leaves this client seemingly random in his or her behavior. This individual craves companionship, however, and yet they are quick to reject others for perceived flaws. Should this individual feel neglected, he or she can turn away from the world in an extravagant display of bitterness. What does that say about the human condition? You know, we talk about the human condition a lot, but we don't ever really talk about it. I think Freud was right in a lot of ways, because I think a lot of, not the parent stuff, God, I don't think your parents have much to do with anything. Maybe they teach you how not to behave as an adult. They teach you what mistakes not to make so that you can make your own. But I think a lot of what we do is driven by sex urges. And I think that therefore we still don't talk about it. It's still scandalous, you know. We feel this strong sense of duty, but to what? And then you get this depression and anxiety, and we feel an ominous enormity behind us, a great, strange, muted power that is just far enough back that we can't see it over our shoulders, and you feel like it's going to get you. Action causes trouble for the public, but thought causes trouble for yourself. And you never want to suffer alone, so I think you should always act on your thoughts. A positive attitude doesn't make any difference in the way things come out, though. And I think the greatest motivating force is hatred. Unequivocally. Absolutely. Well, so here we are. Over the course of my life, I've found that the greatest good is pleasure, which implies hedonism. Okay, yes, it does, but hedonism classically preaches high moral obligation, because we can't exist contentedly, living in fear and loathing and without stability. So, what brings pleasure becomes the question. I think it is art, which has no purpose and serves no function except to make us happy, though we don't need to be happy to survive as a species or as individuals, literally speaking. And, if you want to get technical, everything's art because nothing has a purpose. I think it would be happier if we stopped searching for one. But what makes art special is that it has no purpose but was created by a sentient being, for sure, one of our sentient fellows. It's a bit decadent, but it's nice to look at. So, allocating flavors, back to this, allocating flavors to aspects of life. What does depression taste like? If reality tastes like stale black coffee, I think depression tastes like stale French fries or cold pizza. Because by the time you're eating it, self-loathing has set in. I'm not eating cold French fries when I'm in a good mood. Gosh. Okay. It's alright.